Sometimes the hardest thing that we have to do is to overcome the fear, to have those hard conversations when we look ourselves in the mirror and talk to ourselves.
You've tuned into The Switch. Flip the switch and start shining like never before. Now your host, Lance Gilbreth.
Hello and welcome to The Switch, your number one podcast for exploring the power of how to turn fear into action and hesitation into momentum. I'm your host, Lance Gilbreth, and I'm so excited to be here with you, especially for this episode number 1. And I thank you so much for the privilege and honor to be able to have a little bit of your time and unpack some of these things about how to flip your switch. So today we're going to talk about something that affects every single one of us, the fear of leaving your comfort zone. All right, so let's jump right into it. You've done it. I've done it. We've all done it. And first of all, it's okay. The wanting to pull back and play it safe. We all want to play it safe, but that's not where the juice is. That's not where the reward is. That's not where the success is. That's not where greatness is. You have to flip the switch. You know, in sports, a lot of time we call it the zone. We call it Mamba mentality, beast mode. You know, when you're going in to make the sell, you get locked in. There's so many different words for it. But we have to somehow find that ability inside ourselves that says it's okay to not play it safe. I mean, fear is the number one reason why people don't flip the switch and unlock all their potential. They just sit there and they wait for another day. They give another excuse, another reason why not to, when you should just say, I can, I will, I'm going to now, here in the present moment. So it's so important. That's why it's so important to leave the comfort zone, because that is where fear hides. You know, I absolutely love the way Jonah Oliver frames it and says it. He says our brain craves reducing uncertainty, and uncertainty is the hardest human emotion. That is so true. Oh my gosh, that is so true. You know, the fear of the unknown makes us cling to what we know, and that's how we get stuck. That's how we get in ruts. But staying comfortable comes with a cost. And today, we'll go over how to dissolve that fear and start making real moves toward the life you want. Let's do this. So let's start with why the comfort zone feels so good, like your favorite winter jacket. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. Success is a daily process that is not comfortable at all. So here's a fact. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not to help you grow. Your brain sees uncertainty as a threat, and it will stop you even if that growth that you get from taking the risk and flipping the switch helps develop you and grow you to become bigger and better and more awesome. It will sound the alarm. Don't stop. Stay safe. So even if stepping into the unknown will bring you something amazing, it is your brain's job to sound the alarm. The fear of uncertainty shows up in all kinds of ways, like procrastination and trying to be perfect. And we just have to combat these things over and over again in our mind. We have to constantly remind ourselves that our mind is always wanting us to play it safe. That is its main role, is to keep us alive. But as we've been talking about, the safe place is not where you thrive, where you go more than surviving. You go into greatness. And what can even happen is you start to think about how to control the situation, how to analyze the heck out of it, how to overthink the heck out of it. And that's just not how you flip the switch into greatness. So what's really happening in our mind? A lot, actually. So the biology of the brain let's go there for a while, is that it is simply to keep us alive, to survive the day in and day out of heart pumping, lungs pumping, blood flowing, make sure we have enough to eat. All those types of things is the main survivability of what the brain is consumed with. So our brain is consumed with fight or flight, right? Like it's scanning all the time, looking for the next threat and what it has to do to make sure that you live another 10 minutes. Your brain craves control, and control means predictability. And being able to predict things means that you are more and more safe. And when things feel unsafe, we start to overcompensate with overthinking and trying to over-control. We get into these types of behaviors, which leads to oftentimes making the safe choice, not particularly the right choice. So because we tend to overthink, overanalyze, over everything in our brain because we're trying to stay safe, we hold ourselves back from opportunities because they just simply seem too risky at the time. So here's what we have to remember, is we have to remember that we cannot eliminate fear. That's never going to happen. We just have to learn how to move with it, not against it, so it works in our favor to be able to take those risks. Okay, enough of the biology lesson for a moment, and let's flip the script. While staying in your comfort zone feels nice, feels cozy, feels like that nice winter jacket, it comes with a price. So every time you choose that safety, that nice, warm, comfy place over your growth potential, you are sacrificing, you are paying with your potential of greatness. So let's think about that for a minute. Let's talk about that for a minute. Potential. There's a potential business idea you have. There's a potential idea you have to do something that you've never done before. But that's right, fear. Fear just creeped in your mind. Even when I said those words, you start to get a little clammy. You got a little sweaty palms. You clenched your fist. Just by hearing me say those words, you could potentially be doing something so much greater than you're already doing. But just because I mentioned potential, fear stopped you at even those words. And oftentimes, that fear leads to a word that lingers with us and haunts us for many, many years called regret. Regret doesn't happen by taking risk and then it not working out. Regret happens when you don't take the risk at all. And that is exactly why flipping the switch is a big deal. Flipping the switch really matters. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, even just a little, you will grow your capacity for the things that are uncertain. Yes, you will definitely grow your capacity to handle the things that you feel are uncertain. So please, please, please remember this. Courage is built upon the actions that you take, not just simply waiting and waiting for fear to disappear. All right, so now let's talk about how to dissolve that fear. Let's dissolve it now, and let's talk about how to move forward. All right, are you ready? In my opinion, these 3 powerful strategies are going to help you dissolve that fear and move forward to be able to flip that switch and move into something great. All right, step number 1 is reframing uncertainty with possibilities. So instead of saying, what if it goes wrong? Say, what if it goes right? Just this small shift in how we talk and frame our words and conversations can make a huge difference. Curiosity is such a great antidote to fear. And when you start to feel a little fear, it's okay to ask questions. Start asking some. Here you go. Here's a great question to ask. What can I learn from this experience? Okay, I got you with another one. You ready? What could come from stepping out into the unknown that I did not know before, but I could learn from, even if it doesn't go the way that I thought it might? And remember this, every time you step into something uncertain is a beautiful chance to discover something new that you've never known before. All right, here's step number 2. Some of y'all might have read my book, One Drop, which talks about doing something over and over again. So step number 2, do something small consistently. Because one of the reasons why people get so afraid to take risk is it seems very overwhelming. It seems like a massive step, all these steps, so far away, all these types of things. But if we can take these little steps consistently, you can cover huge ground. So continue to remind yourself that real change happens in small, manageable steps. All right, step 3, are you ready for it? Might be a little bit scary, because sometimes we take feedback as criticism and we internalize that and we analyze it and we start to overthink. There's our brain again. But take feedback not as failure. So, they say the fear of failure is the number one reason why people stay in the comfort zone. Well, let's not let that be the case here. So here, failure is not the end. Failure is data. Data helps us gather information and ways to do things maybe a little bit differently next time. Okay, we tried this. It doesn't mean that we are a failure. It just means that we're continuing to learn and grow. Every single setback, see it as a teaching moment. See it as a setup, not a setback. There's something coming that you have not learned 100% yet, so you're still going through the process. And just again, keep in mind, it's the small, continual steps that's going to get you further down the road. Heck, Thomas Edison even said, I've not failed, I've just found 10,000 other ways not to do it. So use this mindset of failure's not final. Don't worry about the uncertainty. Keep going. One foot in front of the other, one day at a time, one drop at a time. You will see those mountains move. You will see that risk you take start to pay off. All right, here we go. It's time for action. Here is my challenge to you. Write down the things that scare you, that you're afraid of, but also excite you. You come to life when you think about these things. Now, here we go. I want you to turn that piece of paper over and I want you to write your first step. Your first step of what you're going to do toward taking that risk of doing that thing that's going to propel you to be great, to propel you to be what you've always wanted to be, to fulfill your why. So remember this, flipping the switch is not about becoming fearless. It's about being aware of the fear and still moving forward. So I hope that as you've listened to this today, that maybe one or two things that I've said is a new tool in your toolbox. Maybe it's a little spark. Maybe it's a little fire in your belly. Maybe it's a little wind in your sails. I really want to thank you for spending a little time with me today. And I hope that you will put into action those things that you wrote down that you're maybe a little bit afraid of, but also excite you. And then take those action steps that will propel you to where you want to go. And I hope that you'll meet me right back here next week for another wonderful time together as we embark upon this journey of flipping our switch, of lighting up so that people can see who we really are and who we really want to be. Let's untap some greatness inside of us together. See you guys next time.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that your switch is flipped and you shine for all the world to see. Until next time, please like, subscribe, and share, and visit lancegilbreth.com.